Bruce Lee accomplished incredible things in his life, from becoming an acting superstar to pursuing the highest form of martial arts. It's the latter, the pursuit of improvement in martial arts, that developed his open-minded philosophy of Jeet Kune Do, otherwise known as a style without a style. It is that philosophy which is at the root of MMA and has impacted not just the sport, but some of the greatest fighters to ever compete in it. That is the reason why Bruce Lee is often regarded as a pioneer of mixed martial arts. So let's take a deeper dive into what made Bruce Lee such a pioneer and visionary. Number 8. Early life. Bruce Lee had an interesting childhood, to say the least. His mother, Lee Hoi Chun, was a famous Cantonese opera singer from Hong Kong, who often traveled around the world for different shows. During an international opera tour, the Lee family found themselves in San Francisco, California, where Bruce's mother gave birth to the future legend. So Lee was actually a dual citizen of Hong Kong and the USA. Soon after that, the family moved back to Hong Kong, where they found unexpected hardship as Japan invaded Hong Kong at the onset of World War II. So, the first 4 years of Bruce's life, he grew up with a foreign country controlling his hometown. Number 7. Movie career. Most people best know Bruce Lee for his movies. He has starred in some of the most successful martial arts films of all time. Starting acting in 1941, Lee would eventually earn himself a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. His first big film was The Wrecking Crew, which, when adjusted for inflation, netted $62 million. And that's not even his highest grossing film. The Big Boss grossed $300 million, Fist of Fury over $650 million, Way of the Dragon $730 million, and finally, Enter the Dragon grossed over $2 billion. So Lee was a superstar in every sense of the word, and he did all of this while trying to improve his martial arts ability, as he often did his own stunt work for his films, which was a big reason why the fans loved him. His pursuit of martial arts improvements would lead many to call Lee a pioneer of MMA, a sport that has come to dominate the sports world in recent years. But before we get into that, let's take a look at Lee's martial art background. Number 6. Martial art background. Lee was known as a troublemaker as a kid, as he would often get into street fights. So his parents decided he might learn better self-control and discipline if he learned martial arts. That's how Lee came to develop a relationship with the legendary Ip Man, who would be his Wing Chun trainer. Wing Chun is a form of self-defense that requires quick arm movements and strong legs. You often perform this martial art in a relaxed manner. This would become a staple of Bruce Lee's martial arts, as he's famous for demonstrating his lightning-fast strikes, which come out of nowhere. Lee would win the Hong Kong School's boxing tournament by knocking out the previous champion. In the same year, he began to see why he's considered a pioneer for MMA, as he also won the Hong Kong's Crown Colony Cha-Cha Championship. So it seems as if from a young age, Bruce Lee was willing to try anything that would improve his footwork and reaction time by blending different art forms. Number 5. Jeet Kune Do. Bruce Lee would create his own form of martial arts called Jeet Kune Do, or JKD. The philosophy behind this martial art is at the core of MMA philosophy. Mixed martial arts is pretty self-explanatory. It is a mix of different forms of martial arts in order to develop a unique skill set that trumps over others. While JKD philosophy was one of style without style, as he liked to call it. Lee believed that martial arts were bogged down with traditions, which caused them to become stale and not evolve. So his JKD form of martial arts wasn't self-defense per se, rather it was about embracing the idea that only effective moves matter, no matter which discipline they may come from. Which is a very MMA idea. One had to be open-minded in order to embrace JKD's teachings, so the fighter is more versatile and has a skill set unique to that individual, rather than a copy and paste model from previous martial arts. So Bruce Lee was truly ahead of his time in this manner. Better yet, let's see what Bruce Lee himself had to say about his style. There is no mystery about my style. My movements are simple, direct, and non-classical. The extraordinary part of it lies in its simplicity. Every movement in Jeet Kune Do is being so of itself. There is nothing artificial about it. I always believe that the easy way is the right way. Jeet Kune Do is simply the direct expression of one's feelings with a minimum of movements and energy. The closer to the true way of Kung Fu, the less wastage of expression there is. Number 4. Combining different martial arts. As we said earlier, MMA is about blending different martial arts together, and during Lee's era, many of the martial artists were stuck in their specific discipline with very little overlap. A wrestler only trained wrestling, a boxer only trained boxing, a taekwondo fighter only trained in that discipline. While Lee, through his creative mind, saw flaws in the way things were being taught and even how matches were fought. He thought Wing Chun fights lasted too long, or certain techniques had no value in a self-defense nature. So not only did Lee begin to experiment with other martial arts like learning boxing, but he even looked into fighting arts like fencing and put emphasis on weight training, running, and stretching, all of which are pillars of normal strength and conditioning routines for fighters all around the world now. Just take a look at all the styles of fighting that Lee trained in, from Wing Chun to Tai Chi to boxing, judo, taekwondo, wrestling, street fighting, and of course his very own Jeet Kune Do, about which he said, "There are styles that favor straight lines, then there are styles that favor curved lines and circles. Styles that cling to one partial aspect of combat are in bondage. Jeet Kune Do is a technique for acquiring liberty. Jeet Kune Do favors formlessness so that it can assume all forms, and uses any technique or means which serves its end. In this art, efficiency is anything that scores." Now that type of thinking screams MMA. Number 3. Learning from other trainers. Lee often put his ego aside and asked others to teach him. When he met the legendary judoka Gene LeBell on the set of The Green Hornet, Lee asked him to teach him a few judo moves. LeBell regarded Lee as the best martial artist alive and worked out with him 10 to 12 times while filming the television show. Bruce Lee saw the value in LeBell's teaching and learned how to do leg locks, arm locks, hold downs, and judo throws from the legend. LeBell was even impressed with Bruce Lee for having a bobbing and weaving style of fighting, which Lee said he took from the great Muhammad Ali. Lee also asked the Great Gamma, an expert in Indian wrestling, to show him some exercises which he could add to his own training. Lee wasn't all talk either. He understood the value of what he was experiencing as he choreographed grappling sequences in his movies, including submitting an opponent in Enter the Dragon with an armbar, and using a neck hold on Chuck Norris, which he learned from Gene LeBell. For many at that time, this was their first time witnessing such grappling exchanges on the big screen. Number 2. Impact on MMA. Bruce Lee's impact on MMA comes down to the essence and philosophy behind the sport. It's true that Lee's fighting skill set might not match the kind of fighters competing in the sport right now, but Lee's philosophy behind his skill set is what makes MMA unique, as Bruce Lee always empowered creativity and open-mindedness, so you're always seeking ways to improving your game and not believing that you've found the secret. As Lee said, the best fighter is not a boxer, karate, or judo man. The best fighter is someone who can adapt on any style. He kicks too good for a boxer, throws too good for a karate man, and punches too good for a judo man. On top of that, UFC president Dana White has claimed that Bruce Lee was the father of mixed martial arts. As he explained, you've got to cross-train in many different systems. If you look at the way Bruce Lee trained, the way he fought, and many of the things he wrote, he said the perfect style was no style. You take a little something from everything. You take the good things from every different discipline, use what works, and you throw the rest away. Number 1. Impact on fighters. Lee also impacted how fights were actually fought. Typically at the time Lee was coming up, the karate fights tended to be boring sparring matches, which worked on a point system. However, Lee preferred to have less sparring gear and more contact during the matches, as he believed that's the only way to find out whether a technique is effective or not. This type of real fight simulation is what the UFC is built on, finding out what works and what doesn't. So it's little wonder why legends like Mike Tyson have gone on the record to say everyone wanted to be like Bruce Lee when he was growing up. Or MMA legends like John Jones and Anderson Silva have cited Bruce Lee as an inspiration and a hero, as Bruce Lee's philosophy was truly innovative and helped pioneer the sport that we all love now. If you enjoyed the video, then please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell beside it so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. With that being said, you just watched us break down why Bruce Lee was an MMA pioneer. See you next time.